Hello everyone, welcome back to the new Python video. In this video we will continue our OOPS concepts. In the previous two videos we already discussed about what are classes, objects and the self and how to declare variables. So in this video we will continue about our next topic, that is constructor. We will see some more points about constructor. We have already noted down some points related to the self. So in this video let's continue with the constructor. So we already discussed that constructor is a special method. Constructor is a special method. And why it is a special method? Because it calls itself as soon as we create an object, so we don't have to call it explicitly. So that's why it's a special method. The second point related to the constructor is that name of constructor is always underscore init underscore. Yeah, so no matter what kind of class you are creating, the constructor name is always going to be underscore init underscore self. The third point is, as I already said, it's a special method. Why it's a special method? Because we are not required to call constructor explicitly. Explicitly. It will be executed automatically when we are creating an object. Okay, so this is the third point about the constructor. Fourth point is constructor will be executed only once per object. And the fifth point is regarding the main purpose of the constructor, that is main purpose of constructor is to declare and initialize instance variables. Sixth point is, this is the new one. Like all the above points that I mentioned here, we have already discussed them, we have gone through them. So this sixth point is the new one, so I will go through this point. I will go through the above points as well, but I will definitely go through the sixth point for sure. This is, within Python class, constructor is optional. It means you can create a class without a constructor. If we are not providing constructor, default constructor will be provided by Python virtual machine. I will go through this point once I wrote down everything. And the seventh point is, we can call constructor explicitly also, and then when we are going to call it, then it will be executed just like a normal method. This is the seventh point. Eighth point is, constructor will at least take one argument, and that is going to be self. So whenever we are creating constructor, it will at least going to have one argument, that is going to be self. We cannot create any constructor without self. So first point is, constructor is a special method. We already saw that in the previous two videos. Name of the constructor is always going to be underscore init underscore. We are not required to call constructor explicitly. It will be executed automatically when we are creating an object. So let me show you this as an example. let me do this. Let me paste it here, and I will do like this. So this is a class that I created that has a constructor self. I created this class, and now let me create an object. I created this object of the class. So as soon as I have created the object, I don't have to call this method, it calls itself automatically, and you can see the statement I will call myself. So that's why you can see that it's executed automatically, we don't have to call it. The fourth point is constructor will be executed only once per object. So we already created this object and it's got executed. So let me try to see if I create this again, what's going to happen. Yeah, so it will not repeating itself, so it's not creating one more object. And if I try to see the ID, I mean they both are same, so ID is same. Let me try to print here ID of S, it's 4566, and let me try to do ID of here, print ID of S. Okay, so they are different objects. Let me see. Yeah, so I just checked it, my bad. So yeah, these are the different objects because their IDs are different, so that's why it's getting executed each time for these two objects. So yeah, the conclusion is it is going to execute only once per object. And the fifth point is constructor is used to declare and initialize instance variables. What I mean by this is, let me copy this here and here. Let me change it to self because I use this for what name is name, age is age, roll number is roll number, name, age, roll number. So yeah, here I created an class in which it is taking 3 instance variable, name, age, roll number. So let me create an object of it, s is equal to student Durga 30 and roll number is, age is 30 and roll number is 123. So I created an object. So what's happening here is I am declaring the object. So when I am calling the class student with Durga 30 and 123, here I am declaring them, and here when I am writing like self dot name is equal to name, self dot age is equal to age, and self dot roll number is equal to roll number, it's initializing it. So as soon as I will create the object, constructor will call itself and it will initialize those variables and assign those variables and the values to the object that I created. So that's what's happening here, and that's the main purpose of the constructor, to declare and initialize the instance variables. Okay, and next point is within Python class constructor is optional. Okay, so here if I create a class animal and I will define m1 talk, itself, and I will do like print talk to me girl. Okay, so here as you can see I didn't define any constructor because constructors starts with underscore in it. And if I create an object of it, do you think it will throw an error or not? It will not, it will just create an object. Nothing is coming out because there was no constructor, so nothing is running automatically. We have to call the method. So to print that we have to call the method a.m1. Let's do this, and here it's printing talk to me girl. So what's happening here is Python virtual machine is providing its own default constructor here, because we have not declared and we have not provided anything. So that's why default constructor is coming from the Python virtual machine, and we can create classes without constructor also. Okay, and the next point is we can call constructor explicitly. Okay, here let me create a class again, animal, and I will create a constructor called def in8 underscore underscore self, and I will do print I will not talk to you, and then I create a method def m1 self, and I will try to print talk to me please, and let me create an object is equal to animal. So because now the constructor is here, so it will call itself. When I run it, it says I will not talk to you, and it's running automatically. So what if I try to call it the constructor explicitly? Let's see what happens. Here again, when I call the constructor explicitly, I am getting the same output, I will not talk to you. So yeah, so that's one of the property of constructor, like we can call it explicitly also, and when we are going to call it explicitly, it's going to act as a normal method like here m1. Let me call the m1 also. Here in the normal method you can see it's talk to me please. So we can use constructor as, we can call constructor explicitly also, but it's one of its properties, it executes itself as soon as we create the object. So I mean, I don't think there is going to be need when we have to call it explicitly. That's why it's a special method, because it's call itself on its own when we create an object. And the last point is constructor will at least take one argument self. So yeah, we already discussed this in the previous videos, like first argument to constructor is always going to be the self. Yeah, okay, so here if I try to call it again, what will happen? Do we think we will get it one more time? Let me call it again. What's going to happen? It's calling it again and again, but we saw that for an object it calls only once. So what's the point here? So okay, let's see here when we are calling it, and we try to call the id of self here, and let's see when I call this, and let me call this. Here we can see the address is same, so that means it's not creating a new object, it's just calling that method again and again for that same object that we created, a. So that's what the point here is. We can call constructor explicitly, then it will be executed just like a normal method. So here it's acting as a normal method for the object a, so that's why you can see the address of the self is same, and it's pointing to the same object a here. So when we call underscore underscore init explicitly, it's doesn't create multiple objects, it just reference to the same objects, but you can call it as many times and it will refer to the same object. Okay, so next point is, let's me create a class, and I create a constructor no arg constructor, and let me create one more constructor, and it's taking one more argument, and I will do type here print one arg constructor. So here what I am doing is I created first constructor that is taking self, and I am trying to print no arg constructor. Some of the people will be like, why it's a no argument constructor? Because we are taking one argument here, self. But the thing is, self is coming automatically from the Python class, we don't have to provide the value for it, so that's why it's a no argument constructor. And I'm creating one more constructor here in which I'm taking two arguments, self and x, and I'm trying to print one more argument, one arg constructor. So what do you guys think? Like, is it possible to create it or not? So let me try to create it. Yeah, so when we create a class like this, it will not throw the error. It will let us create it. And when we do such things, it means we are overloading the constructor. So this is called overloading concept. So okay, so now let me create a object using first constructor, that is t is equal to test. I'm creating first object like this, and let me create second object like this, and I am creating second object like this, because first object I am creating using the first constructor that I created, in which it is taking 0 argument. So there is 0 argument here in the test class. And second object t1 I am creating using this second constructor that I defined inside the class, and it is taking 1 argument, because here we are defining x that needs 1 argument, and here we are providing 1 argument. So when I call it, let's see what happens. It throws the error test dot underscore underscore init missing 1 required positional argument x. That means in Python, overloading of the constructor and method is not possible. It will not let us do it. So as soon as we create the method with the same name, it will eliminate the first method that we created with that name. So here what's happening is, as soon as I created this second method, def underscore underscore init self x, this method is no more available. We cannot use this. So Python does not let us use 2 methods with the same name. So second method is gone. It will not let us do it. So this is the only thing that can let us do. And if it's the only thing, when we try to execute it, will it let us run it? No, because it needs an argument, and we are not providing an argument, so it's an error. It will not let us run it. Let me try to still, because now there is only 1 constructor. Let's try to run it here. No, it will not let us run it. Okay, but now it needs 1 argument. I providing it 1 argument. Let's see. Yes, now it's letting us run it. That is 1 argument constructor. Yeah, so it means in Python, so 9th, this point is really important. Constructor and method overloading is not possible in Python. So we cannot create same method or you can say constructor with the same name. It will not let us create it. So whatever is going to be the latest method or constructor that we created, only that is going to be the valid. All the first ones that we created before that, they are not going to be valid. Python will let us create the class with that, but we cannot use those particular constructor to create an object. So this was the 9th point related to the constructor. And I guess these are the only 9 points that we should take care of regarding the constructors. So now we all discussed in these 3 videos, we discussed about the classes, objects, how to create a class, how to create a constructor, about self. We have discussed about the properties of the constructor, about the self. We saw a little bit about the methods also. So I guess I will just keep only this much in this video. In the next video we will discuss more about the different types of variables and methods we have. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys soon. Thank you. Have a good day. Bye.